Hello, nerds. It's a show on Tuesday.
Would you call me?
I called everyone a nerd.
But me most of all. I'll call everyone nerds, but man, you.
Yeah, I mean, we rank comics and we have a show about comics, so I feel like you hit the bill.
I don't think that's very nerdy. What are you talking about, man?
Right. All right. But speaking about that show about making comics, today we're going to be talking about the best ways to sell comics. Primarily as independent creators. If you have a contract with Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, you don't need to worry about that. They do that for you.
Yeah.
But for us, oftentimes we have to find ways to fend for ourselves and find our own venues. Or Silverline does offer its own online storefront, but then we have to do the rest of the legwork for everything else. So we'll be getting into some things that we found work, things we find don't work, and all that fun stuff. But before we get into that, this is that show on Tuesday. This is the West Coast timeline relaxed version of Silverline podcast.
Isn't that like the best coast? Isn't West Coast the best coast?
Exactly. Yeah, left coast, west coast.
Yeah.
We have.
That's my phone. I will turn it down.
That's all right. I saw the. I thought someone was responding to your call for more guests, and that's just Vicky sharing art pages. Yep. But I'm your host, Tim TK. I'm writer of Wolf Hunter and the blog guy over at Silverline, and I'm joined by Aaron Humphreys,
the guy who pencils the obsoletes. The upcoming. Well, I think the first issue should be going out soon.
Yeah.
So we just finished the superhero Kickstarter, and then the sci-fi one was one beforehand. I haven't got mine. Excuse me, I haven't got mine yet, but I think they're shipping any minute. Yeah,
should be. That is the issue with being on those coasts, is that our shipping is a bit delayed for you getting our cop copies. I end up getting all my Wolf Hunter copies like a week after everyone knew who ordered it did.
Yeah, I see people online like, "Hey, I got my." It's like, I don't have anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be getting into also the benefits of selling through the Kickstarter. So obviously we are independent comic creators. We have made one and or more independent comics, and we've had to handle the marketing and selling of that mostly on our own. So I'll kind of open up with you, Aaron, and let's kind of treat this as kind of a free-form discussion.
But since everyone else abandoned us, but that's okay, guys. I mean, I know that they're like tired or something. I don't know.
That couldn't be me. Cushy marketing job, working 5-hour days, half from home.
Really?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's great.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's like, I've reached the creative end of corporate America, and I understand now why everyone hates marketing departments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get it now. No one thinks we do anything. We generate all your leads, but no one thinks we do anything.
That's true. That's true. With that marketing, I mean, I would love to have my own marketing department. Besides my cat, who doesn't really do anything. Yes. He's not earning his money or his kibble, I guess, with his dog food, right?
Yeah. Cats notoriously slow in lead generation.
Yeah.
Although there are some people who their entire aesthetic is just cat person, and I guess if you can work on Instagram, that's something.
People but made entire fortunes off cat videos.
Absolutely. So probably the thing that Absolute is on its way out. But people probably most know you for Godlings.
Yeah.
Which was a project that took you
6 years.
6 years? Yeah.
So it's all done.
Yeah. So selling that, what was your primary? Let's start with the big differences, online or physical. Which venues did you approach? Did you try to do both? Did you only go one or the other?
I do both. You can buy my stuff at HumphreysIllustration.bigcartel.com. Hint, hint, double hint. Single issues. I am putting together a graphic novel into one volume, so you can buy it as one volume. I have it online, but online is notoriously hard to sell. But man, you get me in front of like a convention or a store signing, and I can move some product.
Yeah. So physically, it definitely seems to move better for you.
Yeah, it certainly helps when you tackle the customers down and force it into their hand. That seems to be the primary selling technique that I found works the best. So, even though they cry a little bit after I do that, they'll get over it. They got a comic book and a scraped knee, but they're okay.
Yeah. And they're giving you some value for the pain.
That's right. Yes. Value for the pain.
Yeah. So, in your online storefront, though, it doesn't. Even said it doesn't move as much. Do you sell only like print on demand, or do you also do like digital copies? Or
I do. I actually have ordered a bunch of stock in, so all the comics I sell, I have copies of, and so I just watch my stock, and then you can buy them. So, and then I sign them all and stuff too. I don't do print on demand. I think when I run out of stock, I might keep the single issues. I'm to the point where the book was supposed to be made in one book, and I have another comic book that I'm working on right now. And that will be, each single issue will be its own storyline, so you can pick up any issue out of order and just kind of like, it's kind of heavily kind of inspired by like Usagi Yojimbo and like Command, this wandering warrior. But Gollings, once I think I run out of the stock of the single issues, I don't think I'll reprint them because it was meant to be one book. And so I won't reprint the covers either. That way, so people buy the single issues. It's like, oh, I got the covers. I got something different. It's some art.
You get a little bit of collectibility to it.
Yeah, collectibility to it. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's funny. I'd be curious to know your take on online, because online selling, I think the hardest part is you can post and sell online, but to get people to stop and click and go through the process of purchasing can be hard. I think some people will go like through Facebook or like Instagram and take mental notes. Oh, that looked cool. I'll come back to that. And then they get distracted with something else. I think strangely enough, the amount of stuff on the internet is the sole reason why some people don't buy, because I think it distracts you. There's so much stuff that I think it distracts you a little bit from not. So, where did Brian?
So best way to sell comics, social media, utilize all the tools at your disposal, plain and simple. Yeah, I think if you're selling online, that definitely you need to be active on social media, because the main issue is you do run into a lot of noise.
Yeah,
and so I'm not a fan of marketing your comic before it's ready to be bought, because like you said, if people see it and it's like, I'll come back to this later, they're going to forget about it. But if they see it and there's a buy now link, that is at least
impulse buy.
And I also think that having in that same aspect, bundling a digital PDF with the physical copy, if you only want to sell physicals, will also help a lot, because that way they get something to read immediately, and then the normal thing gets shipped to them anyway.
I never thought of that. I mean, I have PDFs. I mean, it's not like I can't generate the file and send it to it. I just didn't think that they would want both.
For our first book and Facebook groups, I wouldn't know about Silverline and other Kickstarters. Being active on Facebook groups, and I'll say one way to cut through the noise if you are marketing through social media, and this is just good marketing tips for any industry. It's always better to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. So, finding if you work in SEO, it's the same thing as finding niche keywords or low difficulty keywords. But you find groups that have decent traffic. So if you like, set a threshold for however many you want to do. Like find groups that have or subreddits or Twitter lists that have 200-300 people on it, what have you, and then start blasting your content there, because you're far more likely to just get eyes on it. And then as you end up feeding that algorithm, you'll end up blowing it more across the board. But it's always better to start out. If you start targeting the r/comic subreddit with over 2 million active users, you're gonna fall off at the first minute.
Right. And that's and the funny thing, if your comic cover looks great,
Yes.
that is also a
That's true.
big bonus. And I have clicked on the link to follow comics that have good covers or good stuff.
Yes.
I usually, now this is my own personal buying taste, but I usually buy things that look unique, or different. But covers work great. I'm also looking for interior art, so out there. I mean, covers look great, but if the interior isn't matching the cover, then I don't.
Yeah.
But independent comics, I have found some great comics. I found one comic that was a Kickstarter, and it was great. I'm not really sure the Kickstarter's struggling, and I don't know why, because it looks like a really professionally made one. So I don't know. I've kind of been looking. I have some theories about maybe why it isn't, but I'm still kind of baffled. Because usually I will buy stuff just because it looks cool, and also the concept is also something that I really like. If it's something I've never heard of before, or something like there was somebody wrote a comic called Lead City that was really good, and it was about
say you don't judge a book by cover, but you do it anyway. Yeah, that's
you do, especially comics. I think strangely enough, I would actually say comics are probably one of the bigger judging a book by its cover than regular books, simply because it is an artistic medium. You have a book, cover of a book, it's mostly written. But you have a cover for a comic, and it's
well, everyone, like consumers, creators, marketers, they'll understand that the cover is additional value for the book. Like this is a notoriously bad cover, in my opinion. Orson Scott Card, who enters game, has a fantasy series. First book is called Pathfinder.
Yeah, is that like a dagger?
It's a dagger on blue thing. It makes sense when you get into it, but it's the most generic cover you could possibly have for a fantasy book.
Yeah.
Some people only pick that because of Orson Scott Card, but
I think they always do such.
But everyone's
go. Sorry,
but marketers and traditional publishing, the cover isn't really considered value. You do want it to be eye popping. That's getting some fun things like Joe Abercrombie's First Law type stuff, where they actually give you some personality in it. But we're comics, it's the covers are understood to be additional value. So that's why I have collectible covers. That's why I have alternates and everything like that.
I will say that. It's funny. I do know some people who collect books that will collect. But it's hardback books. But they will collect certain covers. Which one is that?
The Marnie's Calgar from
Warhammer.
Scott.
Is that a comic, or is that one of the role-playing games?
This is one of the new comics from Marvel. They got the license from Warhammer 40K to do a series of limited runs, or the series of limited series, I guess.
Yeah.
First one is on Marnie's Calgar and the Ultramarines, written by Karen Gillan. They have another one coming out later on with the Sisters of Battle. I forgot who's writing that one.
Interesting. I didn't even know Marvel got the Warhammer license.
But I mean, the cover there very clearly is its own art piece designed to be additional value.
Right. I mean, and there's also, some of my favorite covers that really made me pick up a book was Elektra. A lot of the Elektra covers. Elektra Lives Again. Bill Sienkiewicz, who did the classic Elektra Assassin cover, which has been copied so many times.
Yes.
I do think there is something for simplicity of a cover. Depends on the material inside.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of the Sin City covers were very classic.
Yes.
Looking. So
Definitely.
It looks like Ryan said if you look at. Let me see here.
Jeffrey Hayes of I think we both clicked on at the same time.
Go ahead.
Jeffrey Hayes of Plasma Fire Graphics. His covers are the best for books. Actually, I'm familiar, so I'll have to do some research on that after the show.
Yeah.
But covers, especially with the way we'll stay on social media and online for a little bit, forget physical retail, since I think it's everyone who works in independence usually agrees that physical is usually the best way to get movement. But but if you're selling online, you do need to find a way to convert your cover to a good cropped image, 500 by 500 pixels or whatever, because that's the only way it's going to show up in social media. No one reads text posts anymore. But having if you can find a way to turn your cover into good PNG because it has the best quality and loses a lot less to the social media compression, that'll at least get more clicks as opposed to just a straight text post.
Yeah. So I have yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Sure.
So it's funny. So do you sell your stuff? How do you find you selling your stuff online?
Online. So print on demand actually. And my social media exists in a weird place because in addition to comics, I also do streaming and I also use that to get work for content writing. So my social media is entirely personality and jokes based. So I actually got some decent direction on a tweet I put out earlier where I said just like writing 3,000 plus words a day is easy once you realize that nothing is real and this is all simulation. Anywho, anyone else for an afternoon gin?
Yeah.
And I get decent direction. So that's some extra visibility on my next couple posts. But
strange enough, do you ever feel? I was just curious. Do you ever find that your streaming audience ever translates over to the audience to buy your books?
Usually, yeah, it's back and forth. Usually, people back my Kickstarter and like, "Hey, I found you because of your stream," and they'll message me on Discord.
Yeah.
Or they'll pop into my stream like, "Hey, just back this Kickstarter, and I want to see like what your personality's like." So
yeah,
in an age of like social media and the cult of personality, being able to play into a cult of personality, not saying that I am, but that's just the way that the zeitgeist is.
yeah,
it definitely helps.
It is, and I don't know. It's funny. I really just I haven't really gotten. I guess only people hear or see my personality is like on here online.
Mm-hmm.
I do many jokes. I mostly just kind of post my art and stuff online,
yeah,
which I understand is not really generating that sort of personal touch that a lot of creators that I've heard. I'm not sure. It's funny. I think just also my age. I'm not used to Facebook or social media, so sometimes I forget a lot. Like I'll go like days like, oh, I should have done something to post online, and always feel like I'm if I post the same thing, like I want to always post something new, whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll never quite figure out what to say or whatever, and of course I try to stay away from a lot of the online arguments about whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kind of stolen an idea that we developed in class, which more works for writers, but this is actually something they taught us in Full Sail. But kind of like you treat like a sit down and write day.
Yeah.
Treat one of those writing sessions as just writing quips or whatever for Twitter, and then you can just like sequence them to come out like at certain points.
Oh, really? Have you done that? Does it seem to work?
Typically because you end up getting like some really good quality like quips to put out that way because you're taking time to again if you won't get the audience that follows topical subjects. So sometimes I will throw my head on and respond to a retweet or do a retweet that's like something that's topical, but most of the time like the stuff that gets the most interaction is stuff that I've written out, edited, and then eventually just copy and pasted to upload at a later date.
Yeah. I should probably I just always feel like since I'm an artist primarily that people don't want to see my art, so I just want to post new art and stuff.
Sure.
And I notice a lot of artists slow down. It's weird. I know people who are more into the publishing, like are better at social media. Artists are always like, I want to put something new and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like if I repost the same old art like over and over and stuff, you just it's like And then of course, if I get client work, I can't necessarily post the client work. So sometimes I go a little while. But I've heard and I think I could be more active on social media. I try to share a lot of people's posts, but I don't know, it's not in me. But like you said, get me into like a convention or store or something.
Right.
I do pretty well.
Yeah. Before we get into the physical stuff in the back half, we got a little bit of time left. I want to talk about the kind of the big one for online resales, which is Comixology or similar vendors. Comixology seems to be the only one on the market, which anyone can upload to Comixology. It's just very hard to get again through the noise because you never really get featured, so people have to search for you.
Right. But it's not like they can come and just click. They have to actually type in the title of the comic.
Yeah.
What is your just out of curiosity, what is your take on posting a web comic in order to sell it eventually as a physical comic in order to gain?
I think it's great. I think if you just repackage your webcomic and if you don't add anything new, you are going to make your some of your new readers who come and say like, well, what the heck? I could have just got this for free online.
Yeah.
I think some people would like, if they've been long-time readers, they would like to have that all bundled for them together. But someone who just comes in for that may feel a little bit off of it. But if you add an additional value, like if you add in like art pages in the back or do like some sort of additional content, then it's just like any other collector's edition. I think people are fine with that. But my thing actually for either like a webcomic or also for price setting on Comixology, which is the classic drug dealer's mentality. First one's free.
Right. Then you got to pay.
Yeah.
Not in the funny, I thought about, even when I posted on my webcomic, my friend was like, you should post on there and then it could, generate leads. Now, I only post on a Webtoons, and I understand that. I did not format it for phones or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like I was worth the effort to go back and tear it apart, the restructure for phones, which, that's on me. But I do feel, strange enough, do you still, and I almost get a sense this way too, and I'd be curious if anyone listening there thinks this way too. I do think there is a difference between webcomic readers and physical comic buyers. Like a lot of people in comic shops don't read web comics, and a lot of webcomic readers don't go in the comic shops. I do feel there's some strange reason there's a little bit of a split there still.
I definitely think I think it's the same thing like why manga and comic readers are still a little split, not so much in recent years, but I think it's kind of that same thing where it's different types of storytelling that don't really cross-pollinate yet.
Yeah.
You will get people who will buy their webcomic if it comes out as a physical comic, or you will get people who will follow the physical comic if it gets a webcomic like add-on.
Yeah.
But they usually don't. Usually stories are widely, because a lot of webcomics are going to be in some way slice of life or almost written like a digest where it's smaller chunks, whereas your traditional comics are still 22 pages, still a shorter medium, but they don't really go much shorter than that unless it is like a free comic book day flip book or what have you.
Yeah, and there's not really even much of Western comics on what most web comics are anime or manga in some capacity.
Yeah, or like even just Western creators doing it in manga style.
Yeah. Which I've always found interesting. And there is, even not straight off the subject, but I have seen where Western creators do try to do manga and they usually don't make it. There's something about them wanting to have the manga be from Japan, that sort of scene. Yeah.
Sometimes a little. There's some things that sometimes get lost in translation and come to a little weird.
Yeah.
I think if you like take elements, like if you just did in essence manga style, more emotional and dialogue driven storytelling plus some manga visual elements, like if you include like either different stylings of characteristics or like increased like visual effects in some aspect, but if you do everything all together, sometimes one or two things really well, it just feels like you're trying hard and not succeeding in any aspect.
Yeah. I don't know. I know there are some people that, and I've encountered a lot of people, even in selling comics, and this is kind of maybe an interesting segue. Segue back into the marketing, that were looking to sell like comics. They wanted to sell NFTs and other sort of properties, and we're thinking, let's just make a manga because manga sells, and then we'll just market the manga and make tons of money. And it's hard to explain to those people. It's like, that's not kind of how comics work. Just because manga sells well doesn't mean your manga will sell well. Just because Spider-Man sells doesn't mean your comic can sell well. It can. but it's weird because it's more of a businessman mentality coming
Yeah.
into it. And
Yeah. I mean, if they like the now with like Marvel and DC, everything is so pop culture and zeitgeist that you don't really
yeah,
need a bundling. But if you remember, like you used to do get like those like monthly catalogs in your shop from DC or Marvel. Is like, hey, here's everything we have out this now. You're like, here, if you're interested in these characters, here are these books. If we're interested in this
yeah,
storyline, here's these parts. So, but
yeah,
now it's usually just they walk in and like they expect everyone to know Spider-Man because everyone has seen the origin story 50,000 times across whatever. But
exactly.
manga still manga still does the same thing here in the United States now. Because Shonen Jump used to be huge, and now it's still like if you're going into a comic store, you still will find the Shonen Jumps. Like, by the way, here's
Yeah,
chapters of everything from One Piece to Naruto to
right. I
Boruto
used to
now. Yeah,
buy the American Shonen Jump 'cause I thought it was
yeah,
interesting. I never bought a periodical that would collect comics, and
yeah,
I'd be curious. I don't know how well Shonen Jump the magazine physical did in America. Now, when
yeah.
it did come out, the magazine market was dying. So
Yes,
I was
it's
always curious to know if Shonen Jump that magazine came out when magazines were at their heyday.
oh, what do
I'd
you
be
do?
curious how
Yeah.
Americans would take to that
Well,
format.
always view Shonen Jump not necessarily as like its own standalone thing, even though it kind of is. It's
Mhm.
definitely seemed more so like because America always got their volumes later anyway. So by the
Yeah.
time the Shonen Jump had come out, we already got the full collected volume. So it always felt more like the marketing material of like, hey, if you like anything from this, it's like the demo disc.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a bunch of demos. If you like anything like you can get the full volume.
I remember the demo disc, and I guess that was then they used to put ash cans in, like Wizard magazine. Didn't they actually used to start putting ash cans in those,
Yes.
like little mini? I remember those.
Yeah. If you're a member of PC Mag or PlayStation Underground, it's on my PlayStation Underground hat actually. I don't know where it went, but you get there those in the magazine as well.
Yeah, because I remember the demo disc, and now it's funny. I don't even now. There's not even really demos of games. Like I'm actually honestly
Yeah,
thinking like
yeah.
not too many.
Yeah, most companies now like the understanding is like you'll find a YouTube video and if you like it, you like it.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
there's more like, and it's funny because instead of me playing a demo, I'll like exactly you said, I'll just go watch a review YouTube video on it and be like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, that totally looks cool, and then get
Yeah.
it.
I was hop on
Um,
Twitch for like an hour, like, oh, that looks neat.
yeah, and
Yeah.
give it a shot. It's too bad we can't do something like that with comics. Like, oh, this comics is cool, then jump on,
Hmm.
YouTube or some other thing and like see a preview
No.
of it. Um, I don't even know how that would work.
Right.
I do know there are some people that do review independent comics
Yeah.
online and stuff. Yeah.
I know if you have for traditional novels and stuff like that, you might do like a reading or something, and then like you'd read a chapter, and then you might upload
Mhm.
that as YouTube video, that reading, or have it be professionally read. But yeah, for comics, you'd have to do like a slideshow.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I'm honestly actually just putting it together in my noggin. Like, how would you actually
you just
do this? I think it would
upload
be a
like
slideshow.
yeah, you just upload a PowerPoint of like the first three or four pages.
There was a guy who recently did something about a barbarian with an axe, and I saw his
Mm,
YouTube video. I don't remember the name of the comic, but I remember
mm,
the YouTube video being well done. He made it
okay,
almost like a trailer for it to make you want to buy the comic. Now, of
I
course,
see.
like my friend and me always said, um, well, you can put up a YouTube video, but who's gonna watch it? That was always his thing to me.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, I know, because you can't get traffic in there and stuff. So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely. Uh, well, yeah, we'll hop over into physical now. And like I mentioned earlier, physical, if you're an intimate creator, definitely seems to be the way to go if you just want to get sales. And also, usually that I find that person to person interaction also ends up creating a bit more rapport with the customers, so they're more likely to come back to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the that's the hardest thing is repeat customers. I
Yeah.
even wondered that at comic conventions because there are a few people that bought my comic over the years, and now I'm coming back to a convention in September where the comic is complete. and I wonder how many people are going to stop by and pick up and finish the series. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, repeat customers. Yeah, I do know Goblins was a hard sell because of how big it was. It was 12 volumes.
Yeah.
I think it's much easier to sell a comic if it's just like a one-off comic or
right.
I've bought in those and like those. I know sometimes series, because once they see the amount of issues, like, oh, that's an investment. One comic is not an investment,
No.
So yeah, I mean, what do you prefer when you buy comics? I mean, do you have a limit? Like, if you're walking around the convention and somebody's like, oh, it's like 12 issues, you're like, no, unless you really like it. I mean, is there
unless
a limit?
I really like it, yeah. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm in a convention, before I go to any other comic booths, I go straight to the Gundam booth, and whatever I've left after the Gundam booth is it's my comic budget. But usually, I will always opt for the single issue just because I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. Yeah. But if it's from a writer artist that I know or I'm friends with, I'll get their biggest thing. Or if it's someone I like, then I'll get their biggest thing just because I like their stuff. So or if it's something's been recommended, like if Donny Katz was like, say like, hey, I saw this guy at a booth or whatever, I'd be like, okay, whatever that is, I'm picking that up. But usually if it's just like something I've never heard of before, don't know what the team is, I'm probably going to buy like, okay, issue 1, whatever that is, and then if I like it, I'll come back tomorrow.
Do you have a threshold for like if somebody says, hey, I got a comic for $5, if it looks remotely interesting at the time, is $5 too expensive, or is that like, oh yeah, $5?
That's about fine, yeah. Comic inflation is weird because I don't know if comics ever feel like a good value at anything more than $5, just being 22 pages.
Yeah,
but $5, as long as it's like not going 8 or higher, that's when you should go for a single issue.
No, so what? Just out of kick, because I've talked about this before in Kickstarter. When somebody sells a comic for $10, just a single issue for $10, what is your take on that? I know there's the idea of also supporting them too.
Yeah,
you're getting the comic and supporting them.
Yeah,
so
for getting the comic and supporting them, like you're helping them,
reach their
cover their production. But that's why like what we do, like bare minimum from us, you get our PDF. If you get the physical, you get that and the PDF usually.
Yeah,
and plus some other stuff. So always trying to find a way that even if it's like at no additional cost really to the creator, it adds additional value to the consumer. It's like how was the other one backed? I'll have to wait for it to get in the mail. Oh, actually, I just got one in. Do I still have it somewhere?
A Kickstarter book?
I did just get a Kickstarter book in. I wonder where I forget. It's from. I put it somewhere. I could go hunt for it, but we're on a show, so I won't.
It just leave me just sitting here.
Right.
Aaron, talk to yourself.
Aaron, yeah. Is that there? No, that's my birth certificate. Okay.
I have this little stack of books next to me every time. I'm like, oh wait, that's usually where my current comics have little stacks over here.
Yes. I wonder if I put it underneath. Oh, I think I know what I did with it. Actually, I think I see it. One second.
I get one that was a Reina, a barbarian lady one. I like barbarians, and my new comic is barbarian based, so I wanted to check it out. And he just abandons me. This is a time of the show where Aaron just talks to himself for how long?
Nope. Okay. Nope. Not it. Okay. I have no idea where it went.
now it's just gonna bother you. Now just looking around like,
yeah,
I know it's somewhere.
No. Yeah. But their book, they included essentially a series of like pins and stuff that the characters wore in the book, which is kind of neat. But depending on availability, that's like maybe $1 or so.
Extra,
source.
You mean?
Yeah, for the creator to create, but you can charge but the charge is a little bit extra. Like as the consumer, like that's just normal markup, so it feels like a good value.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've created stuff. I mean, I've always I try to give value. There's been some stuff like in Kickstarter. The one thing, and I've heard this before, so I'd be curious to look into. A lot of people never they do 11x7. They don't do a lot of 11x17 pinups because I think of the packet, the envelope is different. So most people try to keep it within the same sort of range of like paper and stuff. But I always thought if somebody gave like posters or prints away with their comic of that, I would totally be into that. And I think they used to, but they haven't anymore. The stuff that doesn't invigorate me as a consumer, even regardless of Kickstarters or even at a boost, is like bookmarks. I don't know why. Like even a sticker's fun or whatever, but bookmarks never really. Because I guess I just never.
Depends on the quality.
I mean, how many people use? Well, how many people use bookmarks in comics?
Not a whole lot, but I know one of the things that actually got requested for the most from Wolf Hunter was the bookmark. Giving up people who like come back in time saying like, "Can I get a copy of the bookmark?" Because they want to use it for their novels, but they just liked. And I mean, don't blame them. I did write Peter Clinton's art on the cover that was used for that. And
he's okay.
Right, goddamn Brits.
I know.
But they really liked. They just liked the design of it. And like, I want to use this for my other reading, so.
Interesting, because I guess I always feel like I wanted something like hang on my wall or something. I'm always curious. I know people do buttons because I have gotten some Kickstarters where they give a whole bunch of extra stuff, and unfortunately, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but a lot of it gets tossed because I just don't have. But I mean, there's lots of other people. If like say somebody has a backpack or clothes, they can give buttons and whatnot, and I think that totally works.
Yeah, buttons, pins, anything that like you can easily throw onto something that doesn't take up space. Lanyards are always fun if you can get a good lanyard design. Sometimes you get there's some really like things where like they clearly did not scale it to the lanyard. But if you're doing additional like physical add-ons that you can get made cheaply, you need to have a way that collectors will always find a way to put it, but everyone else can have a way to have it in a way that does not get in their way, and they feel like they need to toss it to remove clutter.
Right. I think that's the thing is like if you get a lot of stuff where like I've actually cleaned up my room and there's lots of stuff and stickers I've got like I don't know what this is. But I've always been one to mostly just collect comics. I've never I've never been a big fan of like add-ons. I'm like, just give me the book so I can read it. But that's just personally me. I know a lot of people really do like add-on extra stuff. That really mattered to me.
Yeah, I mean, I very clearly care about some add-ons if it's personal to me. That I have a stack here, a collection of Rockstar cans featuring different.
Isn't that Halo?
That's Halo, yeah.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of independent artists to do nice or cheap designs, so I collected those. But for everything else, like I wouldn't do it for like, really anything else. So that's getting tossed. But if it was, something that makes it more personal, more relatable, that might also get away to stick on. So like the things that are related to the comic, or if you're a writer or whatever, and you are very witty and quippy. Something I've seen done is do a series of handwritten roasts for all of your backers. So when they also get a card that's just the writer roasting them.
I remember hearing that what was it? Keanu Reeves got a signature autograph of George Carlin, and he basically said the F word, F you, George Carlin. I'm like, oh, how nice. And so yeah, I mean, it's just like the kind of something like roasting or whatever. I never thought that's kind of funny.
But it's like the whole thing. Or like as a reader, like no one else is going to do that. I'm not going to get somewhere else. Like that's just a cool thing to have.
Yeah, sometimes I do. I know this at conventions. Just like curious at conventions, what did you take on people doing quick sketches and books?
If you're an artist, being a writer,
no
one wants to see my sketches. But I mean, you have like typically you have like a full blank like front cover. Like it's like now usually. Your printer is not going to do that. You're going to have like your pages are going to be like your page 1 is going to be like into your right. You don't really have anything on the to your left anymore. But if you have like blank pages, absolutely do something on there to make it neat.
Yeah, because I've had some people that do like quick sketches and stuff, and some of them are fun, and some of them are like not good. Even the artists, like
Yeah.
I mean, and you could tell that they've done this sketch a bajillion times.
Yeah.
The one that I always find fun, but actually like because it's so quick and fast, is Usagi Yojimbo by Stan Sakai. He does it so fast, but I have like one or two things signed by him, and he always does. He has like a little, almost like little rabbit emoji that he's done of the
Nice.
rabbit that he does it really
Yeah.
quick and then signs it.
That's cool.
He's got it down pat. Yeah. I know when I get stuff signed by Jeff Darrow, because I've had Hardboiled. I think I had Hardboiled and then the old Hardboiled Meg comic individual comics. I think I got something else signed by him, but he would draw dinosaurs in there because he liked drawing dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even like I didn't even ask him to draw a dinosaur. He's like, dinosaur, and then sign it and give it to me, almost like he's just doodling your book just for fun and then gives it to you, no requests.
That's
okay,
dope.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, for unfortunately, if you're a writer at a convention, you like you probably want to find either you're throwing stuff at people or you're trying to like source just fun additional things to give away with your book, because you're not really like unless you can also doodle, but like or you have a really weird signature, but
it's, I mean, I've seen people who sell books, novels at conventions, and some of them do well.
The last time I did Rose City Comic Con, I was with Mad Cave and RIP. And we were there, and to the directly next to us was a self-published fantasy author, and it's very generic fare.
Yeah,
it's just horny barbarians and druids.
Sold.
It's like I've read this by 15 other people, and at least 3 of them are better than you. But they played the classic single male trope, a single individual trope, and that they just had several cosplayers in scantily clad bodices. And meanwhile, we're here, let's say 3 dudes who look like 3 skateboard looking dudes. One of them got some of the Portland, Oregon caramels, if you catch my drift. So we're fun. We're fun. We're vibing. Like when people come up, they laugh if they talk with us. We're having a great time. But it's hard to compete with that.
It is hard. They keep sticking me when I sell comics at Rose City. They keep sticking me by the anime group, and you just there's no he's got a comic, and then you hear them go, what's his name's character, and just gone. They're just gone.
Almost feeling like it just to grab eyes. Like I don't have the same assets, but coming in some sort of like full outlandish cosplay may be like a power move that I may have to try at some point.
I've wondered about that with banners and stuff. I know that some people have amazing displays. I do think the more you put in your display, the more it works. But again, transportation can become a problem. But some of these guys have it like the transportation down to a science. Like breaking it down and all that.
And if you can get there's a couple printing companies local to me, but if you can get the proper pop-ups, and that they just like literally they come in a small metal case and just roll them up, put the thing down. It makes so you're not like dealing to the frame. It makes your life so much easier.
It's funny. I got one of those the banners ones you roll up and roll into the metal casing, and I thought mine were pretty big, and then I found out no, mine are rather small.
I
didn't realize that.
Well, you do know. You want to have some sort of decoration. Like if you go like full bore, then you're running like the sunk cost of it, really. But I do find that like even if I'm walking around myself, I usually don't go to the booths that have like absolutely no decoration.
They gotta have something.
Because you don't know what it is, but like if they at least have like a banner or something that shows like stills from a comic or a pop up or something like that. Kara McGee, I don't know if she uses any ornamentation, but what she had like full stands all around where you get the grading with her comics that she illustrated on like behind her, and then on the side are like all the pens and all the additional stuff that she does. Like she does like hand sketch like 3x5s of your D&D characters.
Oh, okay.
So like she'll have like some of those displayed next to her. She'll have like pins where you can have request a custom pin, and so she'll have some of the stuff that she did in the past off to like the side. So like it's not like, you know, traditional marketing material, but it's all stuff that tells exactly what that booth is.
Yeah, definitely, and that people be interested. I mean, I know a lot of people love to have their own D&D character illustrated or whatever. I know that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be now, since you're more in the D&D, do people ever get into actually hiring people to create 3D miniatures of their D&D character?
Yes, heroforge.com. You can get your custom model created, 3D printed, and shipped out to you.
Okay.
Painted or unpainted.
Yeah, because I was like,
that is now $1 million business.
Oh yeah, because the first thing I was thinking was like, you could do a picture. I'm like, oh, but is it a 3D? And it's actually wouldn't be really hard to do. I don't think.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what are your idea? I mean, strangely enough, not even thinking about that. What if somebody offered little miniatures, like little
that'd be
3D printed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, printing would obviously take time. So you probably couldn't
exactly
like on the spot like as but. I almost wonder if it would be like if you take like pop culture items and you just like if you're a very skilled painter, if you had to do like pop culture paintings, like doing stuff like characters from Lord of the Rings and what have you.
Yeah, are you doing a Lord of the Rings set?
Yeah, I'm currently finishing up my Army of Gondor.
But do you play Lord of the Rings like the D&D game or
the Middle Earth strategy battle game? It's kind of like Warhammer, but Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
And also, I just started collecting. I haven't primed them yet or painted them, but I started collecting Marvel stuff. So there is my boy Cable.
Oh, they have. I didn't know they made Marvel miniatures. Is this for a specific game or?
Yes, this is for. Not sponsored, but Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is Wolverine and Sabretooth. Actually, pretty affordable. And it's just teams of 5. So I'm working on putting together an X-Force team.
Oh, well, that's been one of your favorite. I think X-Men team was X-Force.
Yes, and what's interesting, the options they give you for building the X-Force team, the bonuses are either the classic Sex and Violence run or the Weapon X-Force run, which was a wild time because you had Old Man Logan and Sabretooth leading everyone from Weapon X, including Omega Red.
There was one of the classic X-Force ones where they all had they were all like gray and silver suits. I think it was the one
Sex and Violence. Yeah,
Sex and Violence. I always used to call them Exacto Force in that because they all had blades. I remember that was the one defining factor. Which I mean, I was told, and obviously it was intentional, but I was like, oh, it's called Exacto Force.
Yeah, that was that time was Sex and Violence / Apocalypse Solution. That was like the two big runs from that era. So that's if people were referencing that time, that's usually they would say like the Apocalypse arc X-Force or the Sex and Violence X-Force.
Yeah, I wasn't it Aaron something that wrote the original I can't remember who wrote the original X-Force, that Sex and Violence one. I remember he became a pretty big writer later on. I don't know if I'm sure he's still around.
That was Craig Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he did end up becoming pretty well.
Strangely enough, did you want to talk about all the crazy stuff that's coming out of San Diego Comic-Con?
And Apocalypse Solution was recommender.
Recommend. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's. I knew we were going to get Kang as big bad, so I'm interested to see an Avengers Kang movie because I imagine they can get very silly with time stuff with it, and I hope they get extremely silly with it.
It's funny. I remember Kang became my favorite. I read this Avengers comic called Avengers Forever.
Yes.
And I think it was like a 12 issue, and the way they put Kang in there, because I never really knew much about him, but the way he was, and I just loved them. And I've read other comics with Kang.
Yeah.
And I always thought he was and I hope Marvel, this is one thing I hope Marvel, if you're listening, please. Okay, Thanos, you made sympathetic. Don't make Kang sympathetic. He's a conqueror, pure and simple. It's a game to him. He's a conqueror who likes to conquer for the pure sport of it. Please keep that simplicity about him. Do not make him like this character where everyone's like, oh, but he had a bad. No, he's not a bad. He's just a conqueror. because he's such a simple character and he's such a cool concept.
Imagine that we are supposed to be getting Doom here soon, and imagine that they're probably going to be saving. If I was right, then this is what I do: make Kane as maniacal as possible, because like his whole thing is, like he feels borderline disassociated, because like it doesn't matter if you beat me, I come back.
That's what I liked about him, and there was a sport to it. I mean, I've read a few stories where like the Avengers beat him, and he's like touche, like he'll accept his defeat and then come back. It's a game to him, and that's what I love about him. It's just for the pure sport of conquering. Just can he do it?
I think what they and play it as much as possible, and then save the sympathy for Doom and potentially Magneto, since now we have mutants in the MCU confirmed, and we know they're coming in soon. Because having
that? Was that the Miss Marvel show?
Miss Marvel, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they originally Miss Marvel was going to be a mutant, but then at the time, Marvel's like, we're not sure we can print mutants so we're going to make her a human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't watched the Miss Marvel. It's over now. The series.
It's over now. Yeah.
Yeah. I never watched. I was curious when they were going to introduce mutants.
Yes. So
they did that, do know,
and we got the sting from the X-Men '92 cartoon when they said that they played the musical intro from the X-Men '92 when that happened.
Did they really?
Which means that X-Men '97 might in some way be canon.
It's funny. I remember watching those X-Men cartoons and I liked them. I remember the animation in them was really bad sometimes. It was really great sometimes. It's great and then good. It goes back and
seasons
forth.
1 through it was like Clone Wars. First 2 seasons you can kind of skip.
Because they were basically just random adventures. I remember that.
Pretty much, and then once you get to the point where I start doing Mr. Sinister Marauders and Future Past and the Cable Bishop Messiah stuff, that's when you kind of can stick around with it. But Wolverine X-Men, much better animation around. Yeah. And then the Japanese one, which unfortunately you have to buy in full from Amazon, not streaming anywhere. Oh god, it's so good.
The Japanese X-Men one?
Yes.
Yeah. They made a Wolverine and an X-Men one, and it's funny. I know what was the other? They showed Wakanda. It's funny. I guess it's Phase 6. I thought, I don't know. I lose all track of like the phases and stuff. I was happy they put out a John Wick trailer, because I was wondering if they were going to. I kind of hope they end it. Like, I like John Wick for one. Right. 4. You need to come to some conclusion. Like something.
I can't imagine it being like, if they want to make it a saga, like a traditional saga, and end on 5. That'd be great.
I could see that.
Because maybe do like number 4, which is like bridging the point where he finds out exactly who he needs to kill, and then have him fail again some way. Then have 5 be Old Man Wick, where he really needs to retire.
Yeah, I can see that. It's funny. I remember reading somewhere that originally John Wick was supposed to be like a 60-year-old guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, but when they did Keanu Reeves, it kind of worked differently. But I thought that would have been interesting. Oh, interesting if you an old man or whatever. Yeah. I saw some other stuff. I'm kind of hoping to hear a little bit, which I haven't, of a little more of the Metal Gear movie.
Yeah.
But it's all silent on there.
I'm hoping it's still, because we have writers, and we have a writer, a producer, and Oscar Isaac has like stated that he's in some way involved. So we can.
I think he'd actually be a good, if Oscar Isaac does Snake. I think he'd actually do a really good job.
I think it would. I
can see him as Snake.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did get some bad news, in that the Knights of the Old Republic remake has been put on hiatus indefinitely.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised they did that, because I think that was a Sony exclusive or something. I think that was.
I don't think it was a Sony exclusive, but it was supposedly it was supposed to be released like early to mid next year. So this is like really late in development schedule for them to like essentially can the project.
I wonder what the reason behind that is. Yeah, I think a lot of people are really excited. For that one. I know they're making new Star Wars. There's like a bounty hunter type game coming out, I think, for it.
I'm not sure.
It's like 944 was like a number. Maybe that was one that was announced in Can too.
Oh, that was 1313. That was a while ago. Yeah, but I know the new one that's coming out is Eclipse, which is going to be a narrative one set in the Republic before the Rise of the Sith. So it's going to be dealing with like the it's going to be dealing like the war that kind of bankrupted the Republic before Palpatine rose to power.
That's right. I did read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they were doing that. Yeah, it seems they were. I mean, apparently the only comic book news I heard out is that Spawn is crossing over with Batman again.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to look for other comic news, but I couldn't. It is, I mean, strange enough, because San Diego is such a multimedia convention, would you even bother selling comics down there, or would you just skip that show?
Probably not. I mean, I'd probably go there. I'd love to go there as a consumer, but
yeah.
I'd probably go there with as minimal investment as possible, because I wouldn't expect to make anything back, but I'd be going there just to get name recognition in some aspect. Just so at some point someone's walking down the hall, they see my name or my banner, and then maybe at a point in a smaller show, or if they're ever online, they're like, oh, I recognize that name from somewhere.
Yeah. Because I know Rose City's Rose City's done a good job of keeping the Artist Alley. I think Artist Alley almost is like half the show, which is pretty good, because a lot of shows don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to marketing, that's the one thing I will give them, is that there is a lot of people in Portland that buy independent comics.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing. Like I said before, about hearing about Rose City's fact that you walk into the main hall and it's like, okay, here's the indies, here's Image, here's Dark Horse, Marvel and DC in the back.
Yeah. It really it's weird, and not like I said. I think I've talked on it before. Growing up, that's why I thought comics were. I didn't know Marvel and DC was such huge, like would overtake so many stores, like East Coast and stuff. But then it makes sense on the East Coast, because that's where Marvel and DC were. I think DC's in California now, but I mean, in the days, that's where they were. So the main stomping grounds. But yeah, it's I remember we did have was a Stumptown Comic Con that was completely independent, and I think that was folded into Rose City somehow, or quit or something. But I remember going to those and really liking those.
The Dark Horse bought Rose City, and then Stumptown, I think, ended up because that first year they couldn't really compete, because Dark Horse threw so much money into Rose City that they just kind of fell into it.
Oh, yeah. Because Dark Horse is now that bought by a video game company. Of that nature.
Yeah, I think they're. I can't remember who owns Dark Horse, but it is like. Well, I know they're technically part of the Archie company, but and then I think they have like a split with something else. Yeah,
and I know there's some stuff going on with Oni Press. That's in Portland. Yeah, and Oni, I guess Line Forge is part of Oni. I thought they were. I think they remember them buying them out.
Yeah.
But I mean, strange enough, not to say, have you been watching any cool shows or anything?
Watch anything cool. I've been just finishing up Clone Wars. My other army that I've been painting is actually Maul's Shadow Collective from Clone Wars. So
really,
yeah, they got added to Source Legion, so that's what I've been watching. And then I've just been I've been writing a lot just from the job, and then trying to catch up on that history book. So if you're back to the Wolf Hunter Kickstarter at that level, it's still been worked on. You're still getting it. It's just your boy's busy, and you are getting a breakdown on the mechanical differences between a Hawker Hurricane and a Messerschmitt 109.
Yeah, you get intense. Yeah, because I mean, like,
but that, and I've just been on, like, when I get time, I've just been on a No Man's Sky kick.
How is that? Because I've
much better than launch.
Because I've heard it's built like leaps and bounds. I personally don't have the time investment to invest in something that big, but it always did look cool.
Yeah, if you just want a cozy game to like pop in for an hour, you could just start a game in creative mode and go through the storyline like that. But it is the most in-depth space game on the market right now, I can say. Having played Elite and Star Citizen, I'm 95% certain this is a scam now.
It's been coming and coming and coming, and I think somebody finally said it's like Skyrim in space. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no. They're gonna get Elite Dangerous from Bethesda later this year, which I'm interested in. That might be something. Or not, what's it?
Yeah.
Did I say Elite Dangerous? No, it's Bethesda's space game. I forgot the name of it. Elite Dangerous is fun if you like. It has some stuff that needs polishing. It's like it's fun. It's a full experience, but actually be able to manage your own city, your own personal like base and residence, and your own spaceship fleet, both in ship, out of ship, on the bridge of your ship. Now you can do that all in No Man's Sky. They got around a lot, and 255 galaxies with around 14 billion star systems each.
So you have a lot to see.
You have a lot to see. Open Seed regenerated. Servers are done through sharding, and the game itself uses lazy loading, so it runs really well, surprisingly. That does mean you do have to deal with some pop-ins every now and then.
Yeah.
But there is something about the experience of, working on building halls in your house, going over to your city, making sure that they're working on something, flying up into space, landing on your capital ship, managing your fleet, and then jumping your capital ship to another star system to then start exploring and building something else there.
You can get lost in that for hours.
Yes.
Speaking of games, did you play that new Ninja Turtles game that came out, The Shredder's Revenge?
Oh, I have not. I've been wanting to. It's on Game Pass, so I have to download it. I've been watching them play it on XPlay, and they did like 3 days on it, 3 weeks on it.
Yeah, because I think
good.
Me and my friend got through most of it, but it was super fun. Because you won there in beat ups, but the thing is now they're actually like you have so many lives per level. Yes. So you can't put in quarters. Because I was like, the thing that originally made beat ups kind of fun, but then kind of boring is like you would do quarters and go through it all. But once you put them on the home console, you could just continue as much as you want. It takes all challenge out of it. So now and I think the same company made the Streets of Rage 4.
Right.
That did that. Yeah, it kind of opened. I would love it. I saw, it's funny. I saw a poster for Ninja Turtles movie online, but I can't tell if it's real or fake. But I know there's a new Ninja Turtles movie coming out.
Yeah.
I'm
interested. I'm hoping not necessarily in the direction of Michael Bay.
No, it looked no, yeah, it looked the opposite of that. He tried. Yeah. I mean, they were well put together movies. They were just Michael Bay is just like the epitome of excess of everything.
Yeah, it didn't have to look like the old like live action movies from like the 90s. They weren't as well put together, but they just had something about their spirit. Like there's just a lot of heart to them.
Yeah, the original one is still classic. I mean, the original Ninja Turtle movie is still, and it was so heavily based on the original comic. There's a lot of stuff in that was based in the original comic that was worth it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's been an hour, and we've talked about how we found the best way to sell comics. Kind of your takeaway there. In person, if you're selling online, either find a gimmick or have a strong personality.
Yeah. Sometimes you could be funny. You just got to be funny to sell your stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you just got to find a way to dominate the pond that you're in. So we're going to actually get ready to head on off before we do the extra Kickstarter commercial. Needs to be taken off from our docket because that Kickstarter is funded. So thank you to all those who did that.
Yeah.
Going through that. So, Aaron, where all can people find you and what are you up to right now?
They can find me on the interwebs on Facebook at Humphreys Illustration and Aaron Humphreys. Aaron Humphreys is my personal Facebook. Humphreys Illustration is my business Facebook. I post pretty much the same thing either or. I share a lot of stuff on my personal Facebook page, like other people who make Kickstarters or people try to I'll share like their ads and stuff on there.
Yeah.
Instagram and Humphreys Illustration too. And then that's my website, Humphreys Illustration. Just type in, remember it's HUMPHRES. Spell my last name right, add illustration, you'll find me.
Perfect.
And then that's your fault if I never go away.
Yes. And you can find me everywhere at Tim TK Writer, here on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. Actually, not Facebook. Don't find me on Facebook. Facebook's dead. Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on YouTube also at Tabletop Collective, where we play tabletop board games. And I have a video coming up soon where I play my Men of Gondor against the orcs of or is it? Yeah, no, it's the against a wandering band of orcs.
Is it pre-recorded or is it something you're
It's
going to do?
It's pre-recorded, so we filmed it this last weekend. It's currently being edited. It was a fun game. No spoilers, but it was an absolute sober knocker. That I did in the last turn. Yeah.
That's cool. I thought so. You stream more than I thought. You just stream video games. So you stream
I stream
board games.
I stream video games and painting, and then the YouTube channel is its own entity that is all tabletop board gaming.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. I thought you just did video games. You still doing Destiny?
Still doing Destiny. I need to hop on and do more of the season as well as the summer events. I might be doing that tomorrow on Twitch, or it might be work. I also started on my No Man's Sky kick. I have started a new base on a tropical planet that I'm developing a mech hainer for and doing all that fun stuff. So I might be doing base creation stuff on No Man's Sky.
I actually finished. Hopefully, maybe tonight finish up Horizon Zero Dawn, the original one.
Nice.
I plan to do it again too because I got the second one.
Yeah,
and I've been playing through the Gears of War series. I think I'm on Gears of War Judgment because I played like the first one or second, and I never played them. So I've been playing those on the Xbox.
Sure.
Played all of Halo. Didn't play Halo Infinite yet. It's on there. You just download it. And,
yeah, that's it.
But
had off from the campaign. Multiplayer is still making me sad.
Oh, that's too bad. I know they kind of split it.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. The Halo one, it looked good. I got so many games to play, and they keep coming out, and they need to stop doing that.
There's so much content out that it's hard to be a nerd.
It is. Like my friend keeps, you should play Elden Ring. I'm like, I got around to it when it gets on. Oh God, yeah, because I played all the Dark Souls type games, but I saw Elden Rings, and I'm like,
yeah,
seems like a lot.
I've had
my friend's house, so
I've had a good time with Elden Ring as a pop on pop off. Whereas like the previous Dark Souls, you have to commit to like 2 hours just to get to the next bonfire, and then also grinding if you can't get through that section. Elden Ring, it's always like wherever you go within 30 minutes, you're probably finding the next Shrine of Grace or whatever.
Right.
And if you can't get through that section, just go in a different direction. You'll find the next one over there. Get some control. Yeah. So it is nice that it's like, and if I'm like pop back on or I'm rusty, I can pop over to an area that's lower leveled and start venturing over there, and I'll find something. So
yeah, it's definitely much more of a casual game. I think that's why it's so popular compared to the other Dark Souls game, where it's
definitely Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2 to some extent, but more so Dark Souls 3. Difficult. Like, all right, I have a full Saturday to myself. I guess I'll try to progress through the section.
Yeah, and they started adding the double each boss. It's like a double life bar. I'm like, yeah. I eventually did finish Dark Souls 3, but I want to play it again because I didn't realize by the end of the game I didn't see the little dude sitting on this throne that can imbue your weapons with fire or whatever, and I didn't see him to the very end. And I'm like, and I want to go play it because that's half the fun. I just completely blanked him. I didn't even see him. I was looking for him too. I couldn't figure out why. Like, why would they take that out of the game? That was cool, and then found out it was his kid. Like, okay, got it. Never saw it.
All right, well, we have been That's All Show on Tuesday. We'll see you all here next week at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Check out the channel tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern for Wednesday Schwam, and then again, 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday for Silver Sunday. Until that time,
make Silver
Line. Hi, my name is Sergio Cariello, and make mine Silver Line.